today, the big secret of the universe that we're learning is about how you can utilize franchising to be able to follow through and have a much, much higher chance of remaining in business during a down economy. So in particular, if you choose the second most recognizable company and name in the United States, which would be the UPS name, the UPS Stores name, we are joined by Larry Rogoff, who is the area franchise developing director. What's the official term?
Area franchisee.
Area franchisee. So he helps develop out the franchisees and franchises in San Antonio area. But Larry, tell us a little bit about your background. I know that you've been with the UPS Stores franchises for, or at least developing those areas for about 27 years. But tell us a little bit about your background and what you bring to the table.
I come to the table, as you would, with a strong sales background. I had my own business in the 70s to mid-80s as a manufacturer's rep, and I was selling almost anything that I could get my hands on to make a commission and make a living. When the industry started to change, I decided to change too, and I came across the Mailboxes, Etc., which is the predecessor of the UPS store, in 1986, and I said, well, it's a 22-cent stamp. What's the big deal? Let's find out what it's all about. And I had to do a lot of research and driving to find one. I was living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania at the time, and the closest stores were in Cleveland and Washington, D.C., so I put some miles on doing my research.
Sure.
And it took me quite a while to try to figure out how these stores made money at the time, because it was a new business, a new franchise. They had been franchising since 1980. We opened up our first store, and we purchased the area to have the opportunity to develop rights. And there is nothing you can do that is more powerful than having your own business and running it and learning from the ground up. And we certainly had to do that. And anytime I was looking for help, they said, well, talk to your area franchisee. I said, but I am my area franchisee. So I had to look in the mirror a lot.
Sure.
But we found that we were able to generate and develop a very strong brand and be part of a bigger network. And because we had a very good business system, we could put people in business, and they had very good chances of success. And really, from that point, 1990, the opportunity came to purchase the Central Arizona, the greater Phoenix market, which I did, and relocated my family here to Scottsdale, Arizona. We grew the market here in greater Phoenix market at the time from 14 stores to as many as 139. And during that same time period, I subsequently purchased the San Antonio market, which I still have today. I have since sold my Phoenix holdings, with the exception of the stores that I own.
Okay. How many do you own?
I own two stores here at the
nice.
Phoenix Convention Center. It's been.
Oh, that's what you're saying.
It's an ongoing. You got to keep your foot in the door and keep your toe in the water.
You kept the most complicated ones. That's great.
They are interesting.
Sure.
But we've been. What we find, and I find, is very fulfilling in my role as an area developer, is the fact that I help people fulfill their dreams. A lot of people have this dream of owning their own business and getting a start, and by having a very good business system with tools for training, store design, site selection, lease negotiation, ongoing support, which is a very big part of our team, that every store gets visited on a regular basis, and we do compliance audits, because you want to help people remember that you're part of a system, and what you do in Phoenix may affect somebody in New York or San Francisco or San Antonio. You have a good experience in one place, you'll seek out that same service in another, and it's very critical for us.
Excellent.
So we're starting to talk about how people can get involved, and the first step is really to say, this is something I'm interested in, let me explore it. The best way to explore it is to start out by going online to the upsstore.com and click on franchise opportunities. where we also have information about a virtual brochure that tells you a lot about the business. And we also conduct free webinars every week that you can sign up for. They have no risk, no commitment. We just ask you to come online for about 45 minutes, and you really get a lot of background information.
Are they interactive? Can people ask questions from the
Yes, they can.
Okay.
They can go online and through a chat window, and their questions are picked and answered.
Very good.
If they fill out a application, and I would certainly encourage all the listeners to do so. If you do so, by the way, one of the questions will be, where did you first learn about us? And if you use the number 5750, then we will know that it came from this radio show, Kurt. And
Great.
I'll let you know about that.
Thank you. Don't forget 5750, guys.
There you go. And then, the appropriate area franchisee or corporate person, if it's a corporate-owned market, will be in touch. We have a very sophisticated email system that says, hey, thank you for filling out your application, and so will be in touch with you.
Mm-hmm.
And we help you walk through the process. We take you through it. We help you find financing. That's always important. And that brings me to what some of the requirements are.
You bet.
The first requirement is that you need to have cash to inject into your business. $60,000 is the minimum amount that the franchisor will accept. And typically, if you have decent credit and some good experience, we can help you get SBA financing for the balance of the funds. A typical new store will cost about let's say a range from 150 to 195, unless you live in a very expensive market such as New York and San Francisco, where the costs might be higher. We also recommend that you have $60,000 to $80,000 for working capital, the money that helps you get from startup to break even, pay the bills. Our SBA lenders will generally lend you about 70% of the money you need to get into business.
That's phenomenal.
So it's the $250,000 total between what you put in, and the SBA program generally covers most franchises.
And the actual franchise fee that you're paying is about?
The actual franchise fee is for your first store is $29,950. If you're a veteran, and we do appreciate those who have served our country, corporate offers a $10,000 discount.
Very good.
Down to $19,950. $19,950 is the price of your second or third store.
Gotcha.
Recently, we came out with a program, we're calling it Main Street, and it's for the rural communities. And I think they call it Main Street because rural is hard to say. But to attract businesses in these smaller communities, we recognize that there are some differences in how the business is conducted, and in recognizing that, we have been able to cut costs very significantly for the people doing our Main Street program. And one of the biggest benefits is that we reduced the franchise fee to under $10,000. So somebody in a rural community, we're looking for you.
That is phenomenal. And so then, if you're only putting in 10,000, does that mean the $250,000 you need to set aside is really about 210?
It's about 210. Yeah, there's about a $40,000 savings depending upon the location.
Mm-hmm.
It could even be more.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some stores go in for about half as much money.
Sure.
And it depends, again, if it's an existing owner and they're going in a second time, they're not going to need as much working capital, and that's a very significant savings as well.
And what I want to share is that even though it feels like a big number, $210,000 to $250,000, the thing is, before you start any business that ranges in the actual investment that you're buying into that business of $10,000 to $30,000, you really should, in any business, have that amount of working capital set aside going to apply for an SBA loan.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's very interesting. When you do an SBA loan, they ask you to do a forecast.
Mm-hmm.
And my experience has been that they want to see that you show profitability by your 12th month.
Mm-hmm.
However, the Department of Commerce says it takes 18 months to break even on average.
So
We have conflicting federal agencies.
It's sure, you bet. But obviously, if the SBA loan drive pretty consistently funds the UPS store programs, obviously they feel pretty confident about the return on investment.
We've had a great track record.
You bet. So yeah, all very sound advice. Very, very. It's impressive. I mean, McDonald's. You can't get a McDonald's franchise for anywhere near.
No, you're going to be well over $1 million.
Yeah, absolutely. So very easy to get into. Very low barrier to entry, especially in the rural areas. I grew up in a small town, so absolutely, that's a name that you can bring to that small town and could actually do a great job with it. That name recognition. People would love to come in there and have all that equipment and all the different types of printing that probably isn't available in a small town.
Exactly. We find that printing in the small towns has been a very big piece of our business. Packing and shipping, well, that's the name on the door.
Also true.
And the private mailbox, the small towns are less likely to rent them, as we find in our system,
Sure.
as you would in a larger city, because larger cities, we have greater concern of mail theft and identity theft we were just talking about before. The private mailbox helps reduce that.
Yes, it absolutely does. And I think, in smaller towns, there are a lot of P.O. boxes already. So, that's one of the reasons they may not do that. But there's so many other products and services that they would utilize a little bit more than
Absolutely.
local.
Yeah.
So,
We become an integral part of the community.
you bet. So we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to have a small wrap-up, contact information from Larry. We really appreciate him coming on the show. Don't go away. When we come back, there's going to be a couple of kernels of truth that I think you're going to enjoy learning from Larry. And we'll be right back. This is Kurt Wilhelm, your host of the Social Universe here on World Talk Radio and Voice America.